Hey fellas, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and tonight we're gonna get the rerun finally for our first Masterfairs, being, you know, Groudon and Kyogre. So today in this video, let's talk a bit about Groudon over here, right? So, you know, he is a Masterfair. This is the first time he's reran, and it took about more than a year, right? So for a unit that's like more than a year old, obviously he's a relatively old unit at this time, and with a lot of units as old as he is, or even older, right? Generally, units like these kind of just fall off, right? And that's what happened to Groudon. He was really good last year, but, you know, now that power creep, all that stuff, because, you know, this game notorious for power creeping everything. So after a year now, unfortunately, he's not that good anymore, and you can't really use him. So obviously, what you should do over here is just not completely skip the banner, hold on to your gems, wait for anniversary, and yeah, that's me this one, I guess. So yeah, that's the video. All right, see you guys then. Absolutely not. No. Groudon, after a year, finally reran. Not only did he not get worse, he got better. This guy got better. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? A year plus old unit, right? He is not trash at all. He did not fall off a cliff, right? And this guy is insane. He is insane. He was insane when he first came out. He was insane throughout this whole time, and he just got even crazier now that we have Ground Zone and another ground type damage dealer wrong alongside him, if you have him, right? SS Nidoking. Or Giovanni, SS Giovanni and Nidoking. So yeah, this guy is crazy. All right, so let's just quickly talk about most people, unless you're new, right? Most people generally know what his kit is right now. If you're new and you're wondering what the heck, you know, what are you talking about, right? Because I mean, if you didn't play the game, you know, because this guy's like a year plus old. Maybe some people joined the game after this banner left and really never got a chance to like go over him. So we'll just quickly go over what he does. So first of all, very high attack stat, presses blades, which does very good damage, right? You have Dark Hit Plus, Solar Beam as a secondary option, which by the way, Solar Beam low-key very powerful as well. Then you got Expand the Land over here, which you know, buffs your attack, special attack, lowers your defenses, but you know, who cares? And then gives you accuracy in Sun, and then gives you super effective up next in Sun as well, right? And speaking of Sun, he does come in with Sun, and yeah, on top of that, he also has this, which is, in my opinion, the #1 thing about him and Kyogre at the moment. For me personally, like, yeah, his damage is good, yeah, his you know, whatever, Master passive is nice, but for me, the #1 thing about these two units, personally, is the Drought Alert and whatever the other one is. Storm Warning? I have no clue what the other one's called. But yeah, this extends the time for Sun on the field to 50%, right? And it's not good because it extends it to, you know, extra 50%. I mean, if it even extended Sun for like one extra turn, that would still be immensely powerful because of the fact that you know, a lot of Sun setters, like if you use Sun on turn 1, a lot of times what happens is, or Sun or whatever weather, right, or terrain field effects, when you use those field effects on turn 1, the most likely outcome, unless you you know, you either skip turns on the opponent's side or on your own side with Sync Move Countdown, right, what happens is the Sun, weather, terrain, field effects, they will be gone. They will be gone before you sync, and a lot of units have a lot of multipliers based on having certain field effects or weather on during the field when you sync, right? And obviously, again, if it's not there, then that's not good, right, anymore. But he does extend it. You know, he extended for 50%, which is way more than you needed to, but that's just really good, right? That's, in my opinion, right? After all this time using him, all that stuff, and looking at how the meta evolves, I do feel like that's the biggest part of his kit, personally, for me, all right? And then he also has Hoenn Pride Master Passive, which is the physical Master Passive, right? The better one, which powers up not better than the special, but better than the regular Flag Bearer one. Powers up physical moves of your team by 20%, reduces physical damage taken by 25%. And then with each additional Hoenn unit on your team, you get extra 15% damage buff, and then extra 3% damage reduction. Maximum power up is 50%, and then maximum damage reduction 31%. Obviously, this is also very, very powerful as well. So yeah, so Groudon, bro, lot of like very, very straightforward in terms of like why he's good, right? First of all, he does good damage, right? I mean, if you look at his damage, holy hell. Does anyone else do that in the game? Not really. To be fair, it is with special conditions, which in this case is the super effective up next, which, you know, he does have a decent chance of getting on his trainer move, which is guaranteed, and also on the grid where you have Super Sun, which a 50% chance of giving super effective up next when Sunny as well, right? So yeah, but even without that, 1.4 million is among the top in the game, right? I think second only, in terms of AoE, right? Second only to Serena, which would make him, I think, third overall, right? Anyway, something like that, or close. So yeah, obviously that was very, 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 very powerful. Incredible, incredible stuff over here, right? Do you mind doing like a bit more? Oh, it's like 1K. But yeah, again, he does have the extra, super effective up next that he could get at a 50% clip, right, which is very, very powerful. He has extra coverage with Solar Beam, which, you know, by the way, the Solar Beam damage is not freaking bad either, right? Yeah. Bro. This is like his second, which by the way, Solar Beam doesn't even get boosted by his Master Passive, because the Master Passive boosts physical moves and not like special moves. But even without his Master Passive, bro. As a 2-gauge move, by the way. 2-gauge move over here, right? So yeah, this guy's nuts. Absolutely bonkers of a unit. Again, even though it's been more than a year, even though people keep on crying, oh, old units just get power crap. He's an old unit. He's one of the, you know, second longest unit ever to get a rerun in the game, right? Outside of Leon. And he's still freaking crazy. And not only is he crazy, he's even better than he was last year. Not only did he not get power crept, he was even better than he was when he was at his, you know, peak when he first released, right? He power crept himself. I don't know. But yeah, this guy's really, really good. Again, obviously, he works pretty well with Courtney because they're both AoE damage healers and ground type. And then Courtney has a ground zone, but also has the AoE defense debuff, right, on her Bulldoze, which again works very, very well in tandem with Groudon. The only issue there is it is a bit of a slower duo, so you might want to run something like a Silver, you know, oh, not Silver, Silver Ho, Silver looking Ho, Shiny Ho with SS Morty, right, for some speed stuff. So yeah, anyways, in terms of if folks are trying to pull for him, how many copies do you need? In my opinion, I feel like you really only need one. Like, his grid is not bad, right? Especially for his, like, Solar Beam stuff. If you, like, really want the Solar Beam stuff, then 3 out of 5 is pretty big. 3 out of 5 is pretty big for Solar Beam. But, like, just for Precipice Blades, right? I feel like 1 out of 5 is really enough. You don't get too much for Precipice Blades. The big stuff that you do get later on is, like, Super Sun, which is very, very good, right? Again, Super Effect. Obviously, it's completely useless if you're fighting with him off-type, which you could totally do. He destroys off-type stages. Like, who cares? Who cares what type the opponent is, right? You know, with the right team, he will crush you regardless. So yeah, he has like a Solar Flare Sync Nuke. His Sync Nuke is not crazy good either, so I don't care too much about that. The Solar Sync I don't really mind that much either. Like, I don't really feel like a lot of his grid is that big of a deal. I think 1 out of 5 really is enough. 2 out of 5, he does have like one nice thing, which is Critical Eye on Dart Hit, just so like if you know, pick that up, use Dart Hit once, and then boom, you get +3 crit, so you don't have to use it again, you know, waste another turn. But, I mean, if you're bringing, like, a crit buffer on your team, then obviously it doesn't really matter. But otherwise, you got some attack +10 over here, which isn't the biggest deal in the world, honestly. You got some more Precipice Blaze power-ups, which is better, I guess. Crit Strike 1 and Solar Beam, which is not a lot, right? 1 of the Sun, Healing Sun, I personally don't really care for. And then, yeah, obviously, the rest of your stuff is at 3 out of 5. Which, again, I really just like Super Sun 4 for Precipice Blade stuff. Well, I guess it also, you know, works for Solar Beam, technically, but Yeah, but for Solar Beam, you do get a lot of good stuff. Charging Sun 5 here is really nice. 50% is nice. Mind Games 9 is very good as well. Every, you know, single Solar Beam hit, you debuff the opponent's special defense. So the more you attack the opponent, the stronger you get, obviously. Although that's not how it works, but like technically, but it's what happens on paper, unless the opponent doesn't have they can't get like debuffed that way. But yeah, everything else, super duper effective one is trash. Endurance is whatever. Solar Sync, again, I don't really think it's worth it. It's like 15 energy, and if you really want one, you know, generally whatever stage he's fighting, you know, especially super effective stages, you will clear the stage before his sun goes away. you will beat them, you know, you'll clear them before the sun goes away. But also, if you do want like more sun, I would say it's better just to run another Sunsetter, right? Like an SS Morty, Silver, or whatever else, right? Lyra Meganium, whatever, right? Bidet, that's another one. Solar Flare 5, again, I don't really care too much. His sync is not that great, right? It's not like terrible, but it's just also not anything crazy either. Also, although we don't have a primal reversion for him yet, I do think it is still coming. It's just of a matter of, is it coming this anniversary or next anniversary? I am leaning more towards it's probably coming next anniversary instead of this anniversary, right? Because you know, once they're through with the power boost, although to be fair, the grid expansion power boost thing, that's gonna take a while, but I think they'll eventually get into power boosting old units to make them either, you know, Mega, Gigantamax, Primal, etc., right? I mean, there's just too many units candidates for that. And again, with every anniversary, they got to give you some new gimmick for old to improve, you know, old units. So I feel like if it's not going to happen this anniversary, which it seems like it's probably not going to happen, right? But I do feel like it's probably going to happen next anniversary, right? Unless they drop like Leon rerun on the anniversary and then like Gigantamax him, which I guess is possible. Anyways, so yeah, that's that, I guess, in terms of the Groudon and Maxie. Despite all that, though, and he is very good, right? He got better. He is a fantastic unit. Is he like the best Masterfair to really spend your gems on? I don't really think so. I think that would still probably be Lyra, SS Lyra, right? And yeah, I don't know. He's just good, but I'd still say wait and see. I would definitely say Deoxys at the moment, which is a banner that is up. I do feel like Deoxys is better than Groudon and Kyogre right now. I mean, I think he's better than like every unit in the game except for maybe one, right? Which is again SS Lyra. But yeah, Deoxys is definitely the better unit, I feel, but it's still like, it's a Pokefair versus a Masterfair, right? It's a Pokefair versus a Masterfair. You saw how long it took for them to rerun Groudon and Kyogre, right? And Deoxys being a Pokefair, he will get rerun much sooner, right? Maybe on a better banner. Maybe they'll rerun, you know, him with like May and Brendan, which, oh my god, if they put those three on a banner, that would be absolutely nuts. That would be absolutely nuts. Those three on the same banner. But yeah, I would still say wait. If you're free to play, I mean, if you're Whale, go for it. He's really good, obviously. But if you're a free to play player, I'd say probably wait, man. Probably wait to see what's going on with the anniversary first. Is there a possibility anniversary units aren't as good as Groudon and Kyogre? There is a possibility. I mean, last year's anniversary units weren't as good as Groudon and Kyogre, right? And the Groudon and Kyogre got better. But I also do think there's a decent possibility that the anniversary units this year will be better than Groudon and Kyogre. Will they be better than Deoxys? Maybe not. Maybe not. They could still also be better than Deoxys, but I think the chance of the anniversary units being better than Deoxys is a bit lower. But the chance of the anniversary units being better than Groudon and Kyogre, I think that could happen. Right? As powerful as they are, But again, they could also not be as good as Groudon and Kyogre, but that's why the best, you know, strategy still is just to wait. Plus, these two banners are around for, I think, around 2 months or so, right? Around that range. If I'm wrong, just tell me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure they're around for like around 2 months. So there's really no rush, right, for Groudon over here, right? As great as he is. So yeah, that being said, the poll score I would give this guy is probably, I don't know, it's a tough one. Maybe an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I don't know. It's just, it's kind of weird, right? Even though I'd say maybe maybe Groudon is like the better unit to pull for in comparison to like Deoxys, because it's a Masterfair banner. But like Deoxys is so powerful, bro. Deoxys is so freaking powerful, right? I don't know. Maybe that number is a bit off. Maybe I would, maybe 9 instead. Just again, just Masterfair just don't get rerun as often, right? So I think generally it's probably a bit better idea to spend gems on Masterfairs rather than Pokefairs. Yeah, I don't know, but hey, if you say Deoxys is the better unit to pull for, I wouldn't really argue with you either, because I do think Deoxys is the better unit, for one, but it's just, well, right? Masterfair versus Pokefair thing. So it's tough. But regardless, I would still say let's wait till the anniversary units. All right, let's wait till the anniversary units before we make a decision here. All right, so anyways, that's really this one, I guess. Hope you all gentlemen guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos for our channel, some more promo content. I'll see you guys in the next one then.